All right, give me a show of hands. I'm gonna ask you all a question. How many of you were worried about the speech? All right. And maybe if you're not raising your hand, how many of you have you ever been worried about something in general? All right. I thought so. If you didn't raise your hand, then you're not human. And that's okay, because anxiety, worry, they can kind of mean the same thing, and it's just a natural human emotion. It's like happiness, it's like anger, it's like sadness. It's only natural. And today I'm going to preview basically when it's okay to worry, when worrying too much is a problem, when worrying too little is a problem, and what you can do to maybe find that balance within that. So, obviously, it's okay to worry at least a little bit. And according to Matt Caston, who is a counselor at the University of St. Francis, he says it's okay too. And this is as long as you do it in moderation, of course. And he talks about that you want to find acceptance. And I'll talk more about that later. But it's okay to worry. It's okay to worry about your health. Especially, like, you want to go get your annually checkups and whatever you do, because say something pops up, like what if you have cancer or something terminal, and you want to catch that early, because then you have a better chance of beating that. And if it's too late, then, well, you know what happens then. It's too late. Obviously, you don't want to overdo it though, because there's something called health anxiety, and this has happened to my mom about 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago, I had appendicitis, and so obviously that's not contagious or anything, but I was feeling pretty bad, and then my mom started getting sick too, and I think it was just because she felt so bad, and obviously she wouldn't have been able to catch it. So yeah, health anxiety is just when you worry so much about getting sick that you actually get sick. Safety is important too, and I think this can also intertwine with health. It's usually paired together. Something as little as just wearing a seatbelt or even a helmet if you're out riding a motorcycle could save your life, and I think of it as the little things you do can prevent big problems. So sounds like opposites, but relationships. Relationships is another big one, and especially social life. And now you can even be as introverted as I am, and social life is still important because it can benefit your mental health, it makes you happier, and it lowers risk of dementia. So don't isolate yourself, because that can lead to suicidal thoughts and even depression. And you might even get a little bit of brain fog too. That's just when you can't think right and you don't feel 100%. Now, according to the Washington Post, an article written by Consumer Reports says that worrying too much or too little is a problem. Now, like I said, worrying a lot can be damaging, and this is especially when you don't do anything about it. And so if it's really becoming stressful, and say you're gonna have a mental breakdown, you really wanna do something about it, because this can also lead to depression, and a little anxiety is good. And Amelia mentioned this in her speech actually. Anxiety, it can be tied to that fight or flight response. So anxiety can do as much just to get you excited for life, and it can give you motivation for life, and it can also save your life. And not worrying can result in that lack of motivation, and this also ties back to that depression that can lead to. So you want to find the balance. And what Melissa Bond, who is a registered nurse over at Paragon Health in Texas, she says that if it's necessary and if there's nothing if you've tried a lot and you still have just over anxiety, if you overthink a lot, then if it's necessary, you want to get outside help. And earlier I talked about finding acceptance. So some ways to do that are, if you enjoyed it, or if you want to exercise, that's a good one. And you really want to embrace the feeling of anxiety or just worry. Just embrace your emotions. Don't try to cut yourself off. You're not a one-man army. Get help if you need. You can even make a to-do list. Just what you want to do. This can lessen your worries. So today I talked about finding the balance when it's okay to worry and when worrying too much or too little is a problem. And so I can conclude that life is full of worry, and it's definitely something you should think about and worry about, but there's also the things in life that aren't worth the worry and that aren't worth your time.